come up here, please? Because you've been talking about Dr. Sebi.
Yeah, fact.
Now, you know, we just had a ridiculous, tragic loss,
Tragic.
and the whole world needs healing. And it's crazy timing and the way things happen, but lately I've been focusing on therapy, and I've been focusing on therapy with a therapist that's really been through it. Someone that I can respect, and someone that helped me with my son, and this is him, and he's also very close. The shit that I hate about what happened is that it's not surprising. That it's a pattern that always happens, and it always happens to good people by people that betray him, down to Jesus being betrayed by a bunch of motherfuckers at a table he was taking care of. And that's my problem is our programming is that, energy and words make people take lives. And it's not even about action, and it doesn't yield. It's just pride and fear. And I want to introduce my man. I want him to, and I'm going to let him talk. But I know that you've been bringing up the Sebi thing. And again, that's that fearless shit. Because I wouldn't touch that just because
I'm all in.
I see. But that's because you got another kind of bread.
Yeah.
But that's fearless. And you announcing it. I'm like, this motherfucker's a nut. Because he's already putting everything. You want the smoke.
All of it.
But I could dig it. And I support you. But I do think the world needs therapy and some healing. And I think healing is gangster. And I wanted you to have a conversation with... introduce yourself, Taj.
What's up? My name is Tajay. I'm a therapist, about to be a doctor very soon. Yeah.
And tell them your history real fast so they know why I respect you. And I didn't know all this before, but just your vibe is just why I've been...
I'm from L.A. by way of Compton, California. Went through all the traps. God blessed me to survive a couple shots, a couple little stints, vacations.
Put it like this, just to say this. When he did the therapy with my son, he helped my son.
Do you see how some of the things that you've been engaging in have hurt yourself?
Yeah, 110%. That's why I'm not engaging in those things anymore.
The problem is he doesn't think he has a problem.
He just admitted that he does.
You think you got a problem?
Yeah.
What's your problem?
Honestly, I would respect this a lot. I would have respected you a lot more if you would have did this off camera. Like, you could have tricked me. I would have been very cool with this.
We doing it on camera because you won't do it off camera.
These cameras.
And when I knew people that knew him, everyone I knew that knew him, he had protected them when they went to L.A. when he was like 12. He was that guy in L.A.
Yeah, all the industry dudes tended to attach to me because they saw that I was on my own and I was so young. So they liked having me around, and if they needed something, I had it. I'd go. But God blessed me to turn my life around. In the last couple years, I was in college. You know what I'm saying? And to answer your question, I heard y'all talking about that earlier. College ain't all about just learning how to make money. I already knew how to make money. College, I think, helped put me in place so I could sit in front of this camera and tell these people that don't know that I already had the life experience to do what I do. But now that they can't take away none of these degrees that I got and, all these different things that I have. So I can go, in my hood and beyond. So really, it was just more life experience for me and to see another perspective. I always knew how to make money. Yeah, because I looked up to this man, too. I've always been an entrepreneur, and I'm still going to be an entrepreneur, even with this psychology thing. So, yeah.
And, just coincidentally, he was very close with Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah.
And I wanted you to talk because it was like I see his heart is broken. All of our hearts. All of our hearts. And, him and I were like-minded, and Kenyatta from Hip Hop Motivation used to always keep us connected in some way, shape, or form, even from a distance. But he made his way to come see me. He shouted out the book, Culture Vultures.
They can't take away none of these degrees that I got and, all these different things that I have. So I can go, in my hood and beyond. So really, it was just more life experience for me and to see another perspective. I always knew how to make money. Yeah, because I looked up to this man, too. I've always been an entrepreneur, and I'm still going to be an entrepreneur, even with this psychology thing. So, yeah.
And, just coincidentally, he was very close with Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah.
And I wanted you to talk because it was like I see his heart is broken. All of our hearts. All of our hearts. And, him and I were like-minded, and Kenyatta from Hip Hop Motivation used to always keep us connected in some way, shape, or form, even from a distance. But he made his way to come see me. He shouted out the book, Culture Vultures.
It's Neighborhood Net Plus, so I just got my hands on the new Culture Vulture book by Dame Dash and Kenyatta Griggs. You know what I'm saying? Salute Dame. Much respect. Legend, OG in the game. Pioneer, you know what I mean? Genius, innovator. One of our Einsteins from hip-hop culture that built and laid the blueprint for what we trying to do right now.
And when we spoke, it was completely intelligent. And I knew that he was going to do good. And this is not the first time that I've seen someone that I know is going to do good get picked off by someone in their own circle. You know, all that type of shit. And again, I don't know the politics. I'm not going to get into it. But it's just fucked up that I'm used to this pain. You know what I mean? And that's the pattern we have to stop. Because us killing each other, it makes no logical sense, especially over words, not action. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I met Nipsey when we was about 15. I used to be in that parking lot every day, cause I was working with somebody there on some work in their neighborhood. You know what I mean? And I was there every day for about 3-4 years. We actually owned the store that was right next door to where Nipsey was at, where his shop is. I mean, obviously he owned the whole structure now, but when they first got it, they just had that part, and we was next door to them. And this is like, you know, this is old, man, we talking about 16 years, something like that. You know, so when he first came into the parking lot, you know, we vibed. He always been smart like that. Oh, just like I always been smart like that, you know, but we was really in the streets, so we vibed, you know what I'm saying? But he was always on this rapping. You know, we'd be rapping in the parking lot, making money, you know, serving work, things like that. And we was, you know, we saw each other evolve. You know, I've been in courts with this dude fighting cases, you know what I'm saying? Like, us walking out the court together. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was my dog, you know what I'm saying? I had talked to him about a week ago, or about a week and a half ago. And we was talking about the things we was gonna change. You know, excuse me. We was talking about the things that we was gonna change. You know, he was doing it his way and I was doing it mine, but we was both working toward the same thing, and that's healing. You know, I was coming from a more mental aspect, more therapeutic aspect. He was coming from a business aspect, which, you know, and talking to these people through his music and helping them get through their life, just like I'm doing. Basically, he was doing therapy on music. You know what I'm saying? The same thing I might do up here or I might do with a client, he was doing in his music. And beyond that, you know, he was buying up his community to stop the gentrification. Like, that's something that he actively said. You know what I'm saying? It was intentional. There was a plan. It was a reason why everybody had to mourn him, even the cops.
That's how it's going out.
There you go, my man. There you go. You got it. I'll check your Instagram. I'll message it to you.
All right.
Okay? All right, man. Thanks. Good. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Johnny now, Johnny of the year.
I just stole the car. That's what it's like to work with artists, man. You got to be nice and show respect, and they're going to be right back at you nice, you know?
He could politic with them and not compromise himself at all. That's the respect that he had in the neighborhood, and to see him evolve and, you know, to go out like that, it's crazy. You know, and before, if this would have happened to us in the streets, you know, we're taught to box up our emotions. We're not taught to deal with them, because dealing with them can get us killed. You know, it can be observed as weakness in the hood. You know, but now that I'm grown and I'm educated and I'm, you know, and I know about emotions, I know I have to feel this shit. The same thing I told the students in Compton when I went the next day after he died. I took my ass to Centennial High School in Compton, California, because I knew those kids was going through something. You know, my son was crushed by that. My son knew Nipsey. My son knew Black Sam. My son knew his daddy. My son been in that parking lot with them. You know, so to see it go like that, it was just heartbreaking, you know what I'm saying? But I encourage anybody that's feeling, you have to feel these things. You know, I shed my tears. You know what I'm saying? I had to feel it so I could process it. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I want people to remember what he stood for. It don't matter, you know, why, what, the hood politics. That's for the streets to know.
Here's my thing. when something like this happens, two things can happen. We can go backwards or forwards. When something like this happens, we got to learn from it and make sure it doesn't happen again. And how do we move forward believing in our culture, believing in our neighborhood, and now everyone's scared to go? Like, if you asked me, like, would I open up a store right now in my neighborhood, I'd be like, yeah, but I wouldn't be going there.
I mean, it's like you said earlier, you cannot live life in fear. That's true clinically. Like, you cannot live life based on fear. That's called having anxiety, and that can drive you crazy in itself when you preoccupy with fear.
Well, not fear. Like, if I don't.
No, not you, but I'm
what
saying.
What I'm saying is, like, if you don't have to deal with that type of shit, like, you want to help your culture,
Yeah.
but you don't want to hurt yourself helping your culture. It's like, I don't need this shit.
Yeah. But I agree with you.
And
You
I
would
wanna,
still
I
do
want
it.
to help all my friends and shit, but it's like, yo, niggas is dangerous, bro. The closest people to you hurt you. So how do you fucking not have those kind of walls? Not fear, just like, I don't need this shit. I want to help people, but I don't need this shit.
I mean, you have to take the proper precautions, you know. You have to, you have to have the proper security in place. You got to be ready at all costs. This is the thing where I was looking at that situation, and if Nip was here right now, I would tell him, like, bro.
Well, he is here right now.
I'm saying,
It's
like,
just a different kind of energy.
and I had to be truthful with my emotions. Part of feeling my emotions was analyzing them and seeing them for what they was, And I love Nip so much, and he was so important to the community that I'm upset with him that he was sitting in the parking lot. Somebody could just walk up on him like that. You know what I'm saying?
It's how I felt with Biggie.
That's how I felt with Pac.
You know, the crazy shit, Aaliyah, all that. Like,
Yeah.
when you know a person personally, but you know what they're going to do for the world, it's double loss because you're a fan, but you miss being around them.
Exactly.
And I was looking forward because I was trying to do movies with Nip. We were talking about it, but he was doing his thing and I was doing mine, and we were going to, it was like the kind of thing I knew we were going to eventually be able to link up. And that makes me sad. But I'm used to this shit, and that's what's fucked up.
Shit. Unfortunately, how they say heavy is the head that holds the crown.
Facts.
Being a leader comes with shit, and some people not made for this. You know what I'm saying?
And that's exactly goes where awakening comes from suffering. And we're all suffering right now. And if anything good or positive can come out of it, that there is any silver lining. All this suffering that we're experiencing as a people, as a community, is waking a lot of people up.
So what about all the conspiracies about this?
Yeah, so that's why, that's why, one, I've been, studying and following Dr.
My thing
Sebi.
is, do you think the government or somebody killed him? Or do
I
you
think when
this
people
was-
say the government, Illuminati, they start using these terms, that's lazy. That's weak. The forces are bigger than all of that.
This is what I think.
Now, if you really want to tap into what conspiracies are, and that's the thing, there's definitely some dark forces. There were dark forces that murdered Nip. There were dark forces that took Dr. Sebi away from us, that took all our greats away from us, just because what we don't do as a people, there's a poisoning that's going on in our mentality and our culture. It starts with food. It starts with the process. It starts where they put us. It's a reason why there's, in our communities, there's more liquor stores and gun shops and all of these areas, specifically fast food restaurants. There's a reason why it's hard for us to eat clean and organic as a people.
because we're programmed to kill the world.
So when you step into that world,
We're slaves.
we can't just sit there and blame this or blame that. That was a dark force that took our king away from us. It's a dark force where people don't understand what's going on with Dr. Sebi's teachings, where he's just trying to say as a people.
Can I say this?
Please.
Did this look like the Last Supper to you?
What, right here?
No.
Or,
When
I see what
whoever
you're
he
saying.
was with, somebody betrayed him, and he ended up being sacrificed because we're going to learn from him, right?
yeah.
And that the Bible says that off top. That's what I was saying. Like, when I read the Bible when I was young, my mother made me read it. I was like, I'm never sitting at a table full of dudes, because one of them is going to fucking betray you. And that shit, it only takes one. You know what I'm saying?
That's what, hey, you go back to even with Dr. Sebi's teaching is where he said, who taught us this culture where we're supposed to follow men? He's like, if you look in the animal kingdom, no animals ever follow the males. They always follow the females. The females are the leaders.
So
He
do you
said,
think-
so as men, we're not supposed to follow men.
Without getting myself hot, do you think that Sebi was intentionally taken out of this world? And I don't want you to say who or why. I just want to know.
I just say it's bigger than the government.
I mean, the government is
The government.
very
That's an easy,
I-
lazy. That's a lazy place to. Oh, the government took him away.
I didn't say that. My question was, do you think it was intentional, or do you think he died of natural causes?
And we're gonna reveal this, and it's a longer story. But what I'm gonna say, the way we understand, obviously, Dr. Sebi was in his 80s, and what he stood for at that time, being in a prison in Honduras.
It was a yes or no question.
I'm not giving you a yes or no answer.
All
I'm
right,
giving you a
fuck it.
real answer.
I get it. I mean,
It's bigger than the government.
Michelle, can you come up here, please?
Harlem in the building.
Very Harlem. So
We gonna do this Harlem Film Festival?
no, we gonna do it. We saying it publicly. We gonna
I'm
do
saying
it.
we need to do that. They got a Tribeca Film Festival. Why they ain't got a you should be running the Harlem Film Festival.
I got warrants right now.
Well, we can do it together. I know the people to talk to.
when
Get
I
rid of
clear
those.
these warrants up, then I'll go back to Harlem. But this is Michelle. Introduce yourself, please.
I'm Michelle Smalls.
Now, Michelle is like my sister. I love her, and she's like more thorough than anyone I know. I'm doing a documentary about her, a book about her, all kind of things. She's in a movie, and we're gonna do like a show a little later, and also like, she's in the hood a lot, but she's the one that on Christmas. What are you doing on Christmas?
I have a cold drive and a toy drive.
So what does that entail?
I take about 400 kids from the shelter and I bring them to my salon and I give them free coats and toys.
And then, as an entrepreneur, what businesses do you have?
A beauty salon, a spa, and a real estate office.
Okay. Now, do you mind if I ask you some other deeper questions?
No. Yes.
Okay, so
Go ahead.
no,
Go
it's not.
ahead.
No. This
It's
is
a hot
serious.
seat. Every time with Dame is a hot seat.
Well, we're here with a therapist, so this is about healing, and I think healing is gangster. So, this woman works, and she helps people, and she loves so much, and like, her son Charlie's right there, and her other son. They both make sure they went to school, college, foreign cars, the whole nine. Very legal business, but she has gone through some things. Do you mind explaining the robbery?
Okay.
And first of all, context. How long ago is this?
About 3 years.
All right. Can you explain what happened?
When you live in this, you try to create a life for your kids that you didn't have. So upon that, usually people say that you're fronting, etc. So that's what I did for my kids. And one day I was leaving from my salon, and I guess they had something under my car. And they followed me home, and we were going into the house. And my sons are always fighting. So I heard some noise. I was like, what are y'all doing? And when I came out, they was in my house with guns. And my other son, Charlie, was inside. And they tied me and Charlie up. Charlie started screaming and banging his head on the wall. And I was like, what the hell did me want to make so much money jeopardize my kids like this? So he started banging his head on the wall. And I was like, oh, God, I don't know if these are professionals. I don't know if they've been doing this. If a person moved, they usually kill them. I was like, you know what? You could just take my life. Just let my kid go.
So basically, she told them to kill her, let her kids go in that moment.
Right after that, my other son had left. So while he was gone, he ended up catching the police. And I know I closed my eyes, and about maybe like 30 seconds later, the police was there. So they just, the stuff that they took, is replaceable, but it's just the things that, being robbed. Like, I'm never going to be robbed again. Like, you have to take my life. So, it's like you lose so much. Not the jury, not the money. I rather gave that to them. But the things that I lost emotionally and mentally, those are the things that...
But what I love about that situation is that regardless of what, she never stopped going back to the hood. She gambles and cracks the fucking most dangerous people. And she still does the toy drive, and she still has the same pattern. No fear. Here's another situation. This is how thorough she is. And I put this in the movie. I guess you had an apartment. Can you tell that story?
Okay, yeah. Everybody be thinking that men is men. So I had an apartment, but I moved to New York. At the time, I was hustling. So I moved to New York, and I still had the apartment in North Carolina. The apartment was still in my name, so one of the guys was selling drugs. He left a bunch of drugs in the apartment. So they called my phone and was like, you gotta come back and face the charges. I get back, I'm saying, well, you know what, being I'm going to jail, I know he's gonna bail me out. He leaves me in jail. So I call home and I was like, take the money that I have and bail me out. So when I get out, I'm like, yo, what's going on? He was like, nah, girls usually fold. So I had to make sure that I was good because I thought you was going to fold. And I'm like, yo, you can't be serious.
So you're saying you got locked up for this?
So I went to jail for
somebody else's
stuff.
work. And then they asked you to tell?
I wouldn't tell.
She would not tell. How long did you sit in jail for that?
I did a year.
She did a year for a guy that would not turn himself in. She still wouldn't tell. Why wouldn't you tell?
Because I knew the situation that I put myself in.
You sat in jail for a year for something.
But the only thing I got a year. I didn't do the whole year. Some of the time was done on house arrest. I had an ankle bracelet.
But all the bullshit for somebody else?
Yeah. And
Why
now,
wouldn't you just tell them?
to this day, he calls and apologizes. But it's too late. Yeah, it's definitely too late.
And I can go through a lot of things. But the thing is, like, a person like this that's going through all of these things, that still helps people. And even because she's helping people, she still gets, like, even with her son, it's, like, crazy. How does a person like this still love without fear?
That's that infinite love for your people that you can't get rid of. That's in your DNA. I wouldn't change that shit for nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's in you.
I guess.
That's why you give to those kids. Why else would you give to those kids?
I'm still wondering why. Because sometimes I be wanting to just pull back.
Ice cold, though. Ice doesn't cry.
Yeah.
She doesn't cry.
That's.
I hope that she doesn't relax. I want her to relax, and I think at some point she has to cry.
Well, just like when I was talking about Nip, like a couple of years ago or something, that wouldn't have happened. I had to learn how to process my emotions. That's how we get over them. So I knew that crying is not weakness. That's me healing myself. The way they get us is that they get us to box up those emotions because we constantly going through trauma every single day. So we have no time to really sit and process that. At least that's how we think. You get what I'm saying? And what that does to your body, your brain works different, all of that.
But I think no. But it's not from now.
Yeah.
It's from previously. Like my father's best friend killed him. So it's just like after you go through so
Right.
much, it's like how many times you cry.
Her father's best friend killed him. And also her father was known for having his clothes matches.
So it's just like, and that was happening. Since one, I never had a father. So it's like, keep crying for what? Like, you're going to keep crying, or you're going to get over, you're going to move on, and you're going to.
That's,
it's not gangster. It's.
Not snitching and taking that time, and that's something which is something you can't get back. That's gangster. You get what I'm saying? Like, you didn't. But that time that you was locked up, you felt that like it wasn't worth your name, and I give you respect for that. You know what I'm saying?
Now it messes me up because it was way harder to get my real estate license. Like right now, I'm trying to open a bar, but I'm having so many problems with my liquor license because I have a felony.
Right. Yeah, that's part of the trap. You know what I'm saying? But
So
as far as
that's where the
emotionally,
problem come in.
as far as emotionally though, I totally relate to what you're going through. I've experienced some of those same things. It's survival instinct. It's defense mechanism. That's how we get to the next day. Because unlike these other people that don't come from where we come from, they don't have to keep going through that again and again and again. Like one of those situations, I think I said this to the OG. Just one of those situations that you went through, just one, will change somebody's whole life. That ain't from where we from.
It's too late, closing contact, on me jacked up. This is practice. It's too late.